Hello and welcome to another episode of Keeping It Real with Najeh Wilkins. A lot to get into today. Also, happy Friday Eve to everybody. And it is draft day for the NFL. Excited to see where these college prospects are going to go to. Very exciting night. Definitely in the ATL. But we're going to be getting into some baseball news, lacrosse boys and girls side, as well as the soccer for girls and boys. I'll be doing a tell the tape on Josh Milhollin. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. Be doing a teletape on him, an underrated prospect for Fellowship Christian. Had a phenomenal junior season, so we'll be getting into that. And then we'll be also talking about my top 10 headlines for the weekend. And I've also added another segment to my show that's going to be going forward. I'm going to have it every single week, every Thursday, news on this. I'll reveal that a little bit later, but I think you guys stay tuned for that. It'll be very, very exciting, that part of the show. And then obviously I'm going to try to interview Collins Hill head coach, new head coach Drew Swick, learn a little bit more about their team, how the personnel is looking going into next season, and what to look out for in the Cookie Kell 7-on-7 tournament, and also in the game they play this season. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So first and foremost, tell the tape, Josh Milhollin. His Twitter handle is linked below. Josh Milhollin, 85. Last season had 86 yards receiving. 836 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns. Big game against Pierce County in the playoffs. 6 catches, 149 yards, and a touchdown. He's also pretty good at soccer. He scored 7 goals this past February in a game. Really good athlete. He has offers right now from pretty top D1 academic schools, Bucknell, Navy, Army, and also he just received one recently from Georgia Southern. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll this tape and analyze it. All right, so this one I'm going to replay for you guys, but he does a really good job going vertical. Here, you're going to see him just get past the defender. Good job stretching out his arms right here. Just going to go get the ball. Great catch, good hand-eye coordination, making a play on the ball right here. Right here, just going to be a short route. Really good with Yak. It was really impressed me about his film. But here, just going to make a play right here. Boom, going out of bounds. Nice catch. He also played in our Cookie Kell Classic this past year. Boom, nice fake right here. Good vision. Going to see the block. Make a play. Uses afterburners. Take it all the way to the house. Good touchdown here. Punt return. I think he has 3 on this film from his junior season. Right here, this was in the Cookie Kell Classic. Here, he's going to make a great play on the ball. Extend. Defenders trying to catch up, catch ground, but you're going to see Milhollin really stretch out, get a good catch, touchdown right there. Great play from him. All right, here he's got another punt. He's going to do that little fake off. And then look at the vision. All right, good block right there. Boom, good cut, makes the defenders miss. Going to beat this defender right here to the end zone. Nice punt return touchdown. That's the second one on this film. Here again, just speed, kills, outburns the defender all the way for the touchdown. Right here, probably my second favorite play of his film. They're in white on this one. Here, he's just going to do a simple hitch route inside, make the 2 defenders miss right there, turn the afterburners, gets the touchdown. Really like that play right there. Very simple hitch route inside, makes both defenders miss. All right, this one right here, I really like this one. I believe I slowed this one down. Okay, look how much room the defender's giving him in this one. So he can run a bubble screen here, a flare screen, but he's going to run a simple in and route, simple slant, and then he's going to make his defender miss and then take it all the way to the house. That's how I really like the play. So look at it. Look how he gets vertical. Boom. There he goes. Wide open. Makes contested. Here comes the defender right there. Doesn't matter. Can make the contested catch and turn it into a score. I love that about his game. Not just speed, not just yak, but also can go up and go get the ball. All right, here again, just a simple out route right here. Look what he's going to do with it. Turn it into a touchdown. that's just a simple out route. Right here, he's going to flank in motion. Not really much there, right? Simple, go back to the quarterback. Boom, look, make the defender miss. Look where he turns this catch into. He's all the way on the other side of the field, right? Let's roll it again. Nice motion play, good play design. Right here, he's going to flank, wait for the snap. Here, great route concept. You're going to see the other receiver go up the field. He's going to come back to his quarterback. Right here, just waiting. Okay, right there, he could be dead in the race right there. No, boom, makes the move, plays the sticks and sidelines well, turns it into a big gain. They're in the opposing team's territory. Phenomenal play here to turn it a little bit to something really good. Really admire that about his game. All right, here we go again. Boom, simple route. Look what he's going to do to the defender, right? Boom, make him miss. Boom. Now we're in the red zone. Another great play. Not much there, making the first defender miss, making a very, very big play. Here, another, one of his patented punt returns. Great vision right here. Not much there. There's a little bit of a crease right there. He hits the hole, makes the defender right here miss, makes another defender miss, gets through the traffic, another defender miss. Look how many defenders it takes to bring him down. 3 to 4. Here again, simple out route, gonna make the first defender miss. Boom, turn it into a big game. Look where he gets this play into. Another defender miss. All the way into the red zone, yet again. Here, my favorite play, 4th down, gotta have it. Big possession there in the second quarter on the opposing team's sideline. I'm actually going to slow this down. But again, you would think, oh, okay, he just has speed. He can only, make defenders miss. But here he shows he also has the element of the 50-50 ball and the contested catch at 5'11". Right here, he's going to show you defender's going to play him a little bit because he respects, obviously, his speed and everything. But he's going to play him a little bit tighter. Quarterback's going to throw a nice ball. And then he's just going to go up and go get it. Probably my favorite play of his films thus far. Showing that he could do a multitude of things besides just, catch the ball and make a defender miss. Here again, just simple out route. Boom. Make the defender miss. Pick up some good yardage. Get his team in a good position. Here again, prime time down, right? 4th down. Simple in and out. Boom. Converts. Makes the defender miss. Great play. And he's always open. I mean, phenomenal film. Underrated player, obviously. He has, I think, 4 D1 offers, but looking to have a great senior season. He did a really good job there, I think, just showing that, he's more than just a possession receiver or somebody that can get yak, but he can also go up with the 50-50 balls, catch them, turn them into big plays. He's just a big playmaker. And last year they had a really good run. Fellowship Christian got all the way to the semifinals last year. He was a big part of that. Over his career, I think he has nearly 2,000 yards. So I should just say the biggest thing for him, just want to see him get that 1,000-yard season. Obviously, I think he's going to be a big component of that Fellowship Christian offense this upcoming season. So I just want to see him be able to get that 1,000-yard season. I think that would really supplant him and get some more major time D1 offers. But he's definitely a weapon, somebody you can use in the punt return, somebody you can use in the slot. You can use as the X, the Y, the Z, whatever you want to say as far as the receiver. So really impressive film. Just want to give him a little bit of exposure. And I think he's doing a great job, and he will be very big, obviously, for Fellowship Christian next season. But we're supposed to have somebody come on. I'm going to see if he's ready. Text him really quick, and then we're going to keep going with the show. All right, so we're going to wait a little bit for him. All right, and let's keep it going. So he has some questions he's going to ask me, but when he comes on, we'll talk to him. But major news as far as lacrosse, Dunwoody actually got upset in the first round. They ended their season losing 4 games straight. There was one of the teams I had at the top of my rankings the whole season. Allatoona defeated them Tuesday night, 18-7. In that 4-game losing streak, they gave up 14 goals per game. That is not a typo. 14 goals per game. So they were really struggling down the stretch. Defense really let them down towards the end. Tough way to go out for some of their seniors. Jack Pinkney finished his career with 100 career goals. Senior Will Level also had 550 career saves. So Dunwoody goes out early. Really surprising loss for them. But Allatoona's going to keep moving on to the second round. Woodstock pulls off the upset and defeats Northside 9-7 in boys lacrosse. North Forsyth was one of my top teams all year long in 5A, 6A classification. Entered the playoffs on a 6-game winning streak, but will be going home early. Woodstock pulls off the major upset. And then Cambridge also pulled off another upset. They defeated top 10 Greater Atlanta Christian, who had a really good season this year. Great defensive game. They limited their offensive attack in this one to only 5 goals. They've scored, I think, the last 5 or 6 games in double digits. So Cambridge did a really, really good job there. And then on the girls' side, South Forsyth upsets Carrollton in the first round with a 13-9 victory on Tuesday night. Great win for them. Carrollton, another one of those teams at the top of my rankings in the 7A classification. They were doing a phenomenal job all season long, but they're going home early. Johns Creek, a team that barely got into the tournament. I thought they had a phenomenal season. I believe they started out 12-0, one of the best finishes in program history. They get their playoff win. They defeated number 1 seed Greater Atlanta Christian 18-6 in a very crowded region. They had Roswell, Blessed Trinity, and they come out and get the round 1 victory. Very big for them. And then Lakeside, unfortunately, they did go home last night. Lost to Lassiter 18-6, but big news for them. They earned their first ever trip to the Lacrosse State Playoffs. So congratulations to Lakeside and the Lady Vikings for doing that, making history in their program. Definitely got some things they could build on from this season going into next season. And then this year, Um, they won a program best 10 games. Senior Emma Linscott leads the team with 104 goals and 22 assists. She accounted for 126 points. All right, so my guest said he is ready to go. Let me see if he is on there. Okay, guys, give me 1 second. I'm just going to wait for him to come on. Should be joining us in just a moment. Anything yet, Craig? Okay. Okay. You just have to move it in that second slot. You know how to do it? Go to 3. Yep. And then you move it that one slot that says first guess, you move it to second guess. Okay, hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna help Craig. All right, y'all. Sorry about that. Had to help out Craig. But we are good to go. We're going to go ahead and bring him on. He's a former player for Archer and Shiloh. He is a high school football fan, so we're going to go ahead and bring him on and talk some sports. What's going on, Queese?
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. I appreciate you joining, man. I wanted to get your I know you big follower of the show, and I know you've been following high school sports for a long time. Just graduated. You went to Archer and also played at Shiloh as well. So, man, without further ado, I know you got some questions for me you wanted to ask on the show, man, so I'm going to throw it to you.
Yo, all right. First question, I had one to ask you. How do you think, McCutcheon got a new head coach, so how do you think that's going to play out this season?
I think it's interesting, right? So we're going to get to see McEachern in our 7-on-7, right? So they got Kareem Reed. Last year they had a pretty decent season. They didn't get to playoffs. They were number 5 in the region. They had a really good running back, I thought, in Jalen Brown. He's a senior. He graduated. So I think their running back room is going to be really interesting, right? Who's going to step up? Who's going to be that player for them that's going to be that leading tailback? Will they have a 2-back system, 3-back system? I think that's going to be interesting. And I think their quarterback situation, right? So that was going to be interesting as well, right? So how is he going to be able to perform going into next season? What steps can he take forward? They have a lot they're going to have to replace there. They lost some coordinators and some assistants. And I just think they need more production from that QB system. I don't think they got enough, so I'm curious to see what plays, strategies they design for next season. And the good thing is I get a good look at the Corky Kell 7-on-7 tournament. But in their region, just talking about the region, North Paulding, a lot of questions. They lose a lot of their main impact players. They're going to lose Boone Anderson, their top leading tailback. So it's kind of unknown with North Paulding how good they're going to be. Marietta, kind of the same thing, right? Chase McCravey, he didn't have his best season, 8 TDs, 11 interceptions. What steps can he take forward? Marietta's losing their top playmakers. No Nakaria Ashley, no Christian Mathis. Harrison, really good quarterback in Braylon Ford, but going to need some younger playmakers to step up. He had a really good junior season. And they pulled out that upset against Brookwood. And then Hillgrove, right? They were 3-8 last season. See what they look like this year. They actually punched their ticket by beating McEachern 16-15 in the regular season to punch their ticket to the playoffs. So I think it's wide open for McEachern. It's going to be interesting to see if their quarterback can get that growth and progression and play better, I think, and then how good they're going to look as far as the running back room and if their defense can kind of come all together. But they got a tough schedule. They're going to play the defending champions, state champions in 6A, week 2, Langston Hughes. So I think they're going to find out a lot about themselves.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
For my next question, so North Cobb was supposed to win the championship. I want to say like 2 years ago when they had a lot
Yep.
of transfers coming in, all that. So now that some of them players are gone, how do you think they're going to do this season?
Very good question. I think that's interesting because they, like you said, they lose Malachi Singleton, who's going to Arkansas. He's no longer there. They're not going to have David Medinga, who's going to Michigan. He's no longer there. So they have a highly rated running back named David Asiami, who's already committed to Clemson. So I'm curious to see how he's going to look next season. He's very good. Um, Powerful downhill runner. What steps can he take forward? I think Shane Queen does a good job. They won their region last year. They were number 1 seed. They got blitzed by Mill Creek, who was just on another level last season in the postseason. But I think it's going to be interesting to see, can Queen have that playoff success, right? The farthest they've gotten under his tenure, which he's done a good job, is the semifinals, right? Last couple years, been first or second round. So Nick Grimstead last year when Singleton was hurt, he stepped up big. He played some really good minutes, and he played some really good job at playing the quarterback position. So I'm curious to see what steps he can take forward next year as well. He's going to be probably their starter, and what their weapons are going to kind of look like next year because they're going to lose a lot of their talent. So North Cobb is going to be really interesting, and I don't think they're going to win their region next year because Walton's in there, but it's the same thing with McEachern, right? Their region is wide open, so I definitely think they'll make the playoffs, but I got Walton winning that region. Walton is bringing back the majority of their offensive starters. The quarterback, who is very underrated, already has deep playoff experience, Jeremy Helinski. He pulled off that big upset against Buford. They're going to have Makari Botiford, Wyatt Sonderman, Cameron Lloyd. They're going to have Hunter Till. That's 4 or 5 different weapons they're going to have offensively. So I think that's going to be a little too much for North Cobb when they play this season, but I do got North Cobb going to the playoffs.
Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And final question.
Yep.
So you know how some schools are able to recruit players, and some schools can't really get that good of a players, and if they do have some, they end up transferring out and going to other schools.
Yep.
They want to win championships and stuff.
Yep.
But how do you feel some schools are able to do that? Some schools can't. What's your take on that? Like, what you think about that?
That's a great question too. I mean, I think it's tough, Queese, because the players at the end of the day, right? Like they have some say in it, but then again they don't, right? It depends on their parent, but they want to put themselves in the best predicament so that they can be able to either play on the next level or they can set up opportunities for themselves. And it is tough because you'll see a lot of teams get a lot of transfers, right? A good example is Buford. Buford just got 2 of the top guys, I think, from St. Francis in Georgia. Excuse me, that's going there. Braden Jacobs and another great offensive tackle. So they're going to be great offensively, just rushing the football and things like that. So I think it's tough because you look at a program, for an example, like Cambridge, right, in 5A. They've built all their talent and they won those back-to-back region titles because they built within their program, right? No transfers in and out. But it might be tougher this season because they're not going to have anybody coming in or out. So I think it's tough. I mean, life isn't fair. I don't think it's the most fair thing. I think there should be a little bit of regulation on it. But at the same time, I'm kind of in the middle because it's like I want the players to be able to go get their best opportunity because some, they don't be able to play on the next level. And I think what's really interesting, too, is on the next level as well, like these players, like it might even come that NIL has been rumored for Georgia. I think that's really interesting too. So players could be incentivized maybe even more. I'm not saying it will come. There has been rumbling of rumors though, potentially of NIL. So imagine what that could do to the high school landscape too if players are getting paid for their name, image, and likeness in high school. So I think it's tough. I do think there should be more regulation, but the player got to do what's best for them though.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yep. But how you feel, real quick, before I let you go, how you feel about your Archer Tigers? Dante Williams is in his second season, I believe, under the helm. Didn't have the best season last year, but just what do you think about their team? And, you think they can potentially make a run and be better next season?
I think they're going to have, they got a new head coach, so new coaching staff, all that. I just feel like, they're going to keep improving. That was their first year, so I feel like they're just going to do greater things on the upcoming. You know.
Okay. All right, got it, man. But before I let you go, any more questions for me?
Who do you think think was the most electrifying player last season?
Man, quiz with the good questions. Ooh, electrifying. Oh man, there's so many to
For me,
say.
I for me, I think it was Caleb Downs, in my
I
opinion.
mean, yeah, that. I mean, I will put Caleb in there. I will put Justice Haynes in there. Um, yeah, I think it's between them two. Most electrifying, like must see TV. Like you got to get in front of it and,
Yeah,
and see them. Yeah, I will put. I mean, because Caleb played everything, right? Caleb played defensive back. He was catching passes. He was going up, snatching
linebacker.
balls from people in the air with interceptions. So, I mean, yeah, I don't disagree with that one. What you think, Craig? Okay, Craig thinks Bryce Hicks, who is underrated, 5'9", 5'10", running back from Carrollton. He thinks he was the most dynamic. But yeah, I agree with you, Quiz. I think Caleb Downs was definitely on that list. Definitely top.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. Well, I want to say, Quiz, thanks for joining the show. It's our first ever having a fan and a guest that watches our show pretty regularly. So appreciate you tuning in, man. You know, definitely help spread the word, tell other people. And you're welcome anytime, man, to talk high school sports.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for
Yes,
having me.
sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate it. All right, guys. So that was Queez, former Archer player, played defensive back, safety as well. He tunes to our show pretty regularly. So that is a kind of a shout out for you guys that watch our show regularly. If you ever want to come on and talk to us about sports, if you have major high school scintillating questions, we love to answer them. Definitely was a lot of fun, hearing his take on Archer and also him asking me some questions about some teams going into next season. So that's what we got for that. We're going to take a quick break, thank our sponsor, Georgia Farm Bureau, and be back on the other side.
Our mission has always been to support Georgia farmers. That's why we created Georgia Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, providing financial protection that farmers needed. While this remains the same today, we've grown to protect all Georgians through home, auto, and life insurance. From the very beginning and into the future, we stand for every Georgia community.
We are a Farm Bureau.
All right, guys, we're back on the other side. So let's talk about some other spring sports before we go to our other segments. Still waiting to hear back from Collinsville coach Drew Swick, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But let's talk some soccer, major news on the boys and girls side. Lambert and Westminster, very, very impressive. They continue their dominant in-state playoff runs. They punched their tickets to the Final Four for next week. Great runs for them. Westminster, I believe, is 16-4-1, has not suffered an in-state loss all season. Same with Lambert, 19-1-1, having some great runs, both the Lambert lacrosse team and the soccer team, so shout out to them. Chamblee girls punched their ticket to the Final Four after a 6-3 victory. Their game was knotted at 2-2 at the beginning of the second half after Jordan Dudley scored a goal for Cambridge. Kara Kroon will put Chamblee back up on top after a penalty kick, and then they would cruise to victory after goals from Ansley Harrison, Cameron Fowl, and also Alessandra Washington. So great win for Chamblee. I think Craig is going to have Chamblee head coach on tomorrow. He's just going to try to. They're having a great run as well. Some baseball news. Woodstock Mylan Urbe was on fire this past week, 6 for 7 with a double and 5 RBIs. He had a Fellowship Christian. They went 8 for 12, with a double, 4 RBIs, and 5 runs. Also pitched 6 innings and 8 strikeouts, giving up only 4 hits and 1 run. Phenomenal play from him as well. And then Emmanuel County Institute, Lawson Mercer, 13 for 18 with a 722 average, 4 home runs, 2 doubles, and 12 RBIs. Phenomenal play from him as well. And then Redan Raiders advanced to the Sweet 16 of the GHSA State Playoffs after a 2-0 series win. They pitched 2 shutouts, winning 9-0 and 13-0. All right, other news, tennis. Chamblee defeats Coffee and advanced to the Elite 8 after a 3-0 victory. On Tuesday, Isabel Corsi, she rolled off 11 straight wins to seal her first point of the matchup with a 6-1 and 6-0 win in singles. Their next matchup will be against Centennial at home on Monday, May 1st. And the Lakeside Vikings as well made some more history, moving to 6A quarterfinals with a 3-0 win at Lakeside Evans on Monday. Julian Santucci won his singles set with a score of 6-0 and 6-1, and Shan Johnny won second singles with 6-1, 6-2 victory. So that's what we got there. I'm going to see how coach is doing really quick, check in with him. Okay, he's supposed to join us. He said about around 2:30, so Craig will let me know when he's on here. But I'm excited to reveal a new section of the show that I'm going to start doing every Thursday now, every Friday Eve. I think it's, man, I mean, I've seen so many news on the Twitter sphere just from the past, and Craig actually revealed to me a major headline commitment that I'm going to reveal in just a second and play his clip. But yes, so going forward, guys, I'm going to be doing the segment's called Latest in Recruiting with Najeh Wilk. So basically, I'll be chronicling all of the major commitments, offers, decommitments, signings across the recruiting world in the state of Georgia for football and basketball. I'm going to start with those two. I'm sure those would keep me very, very busy. But yes, any offers I see, I'm going to talk about for the major players across the state and also for, both of those major sports. Obviously, if I see any girls for just, volleyball when that season starts, softball, basketball when I see that, I'll also talk about that as well. But the main ones will be football and basketball going forward. But we're going to roll a clip before we announce it. The major commitment from this player, plays for Warner Robins, wide receiver for their team that made the state championship, Isaiah Cannon. So let's roll the clip really quick, and then we'll analyze it in just a second. Okay, so for context, I know you guys are wondering, what is that clip? So that's Isaiah Cannon catching the game-winning touchdown at our Georgia League Classic event this past December. Major event. All the major, players from across the state of Georgia compete from 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade. They just compete against each other. He got the game-winning touchdown in a very defensive game. He just showing what he could be able to do. But he's a 3-star, and his major commitment, guys, drum roll, he is going to Notre Dame, right? Phenomenal player. Notre Dame gets another Georgia commit. They did recently on our show, Underrated and Overlooked podcast, we talked about Cole Mullins, who's a great edge rusher. He recently signed there as well. So Notre Dame is liking the Georgia water right now, and they land another major commit. Isaiah Cannon is going to Notre Dame. Major commitment right there. So that headlines the latest in recruiting with me. Other news, 5-star Josh Petty received another offer. He's been having a great year, for Fellowship Christian, 5-star, been doing marvelous. And then Terrell, linebacker and tight end, LaQuavius Bailey, he received the offer from Woodford University. So shout out to him. He had a great season this past year. He's receiving some major D1 offers this summer. Prince Avenue Christian, 2025 linebacker, received a Wake Forest offer. Christian Garrett last year had 56 tackles, and 3 sacks. Will definitely have a bigger role for the Avenue Christian going into next season. I thought this one was big too. Another big headline. Star receiver for Houston County, Ricky Johnson. He received a Pac-12 offer from Stanford University, had a very dynamic season, will continue to be at the forefront of that dynamic offense along with Antoine Hill and others. He had 840 yards receiving last year and 11 touchdowns. Yes, 11 touchdowns. So Ricky Johnson picked up another major offer from Stanford. Makari Boterford, running back for the Walton Raiders, received the offer also from Wolford. I definitely expect him to have more offers going forward. I believe it was a game this past season. It might have been the playoffs. If it wasn't Buford, it was the game right before. He had 200 yards rushing. I know he definitely had over 200 yards rushing in our game in the Quick Hill Classic with Mill Creek. So dynamic running back. The reason why I think they're going to win the region and make a deep playoff run next year is because of the core. He is a part of that core. Makari Boterford continue to receive major offers. I think he will receive even better ones going forward into the future. And then Roswell running back Nakai Davenport, he received an offer from Middle Tennessee. That was their dynamic rusher last year. They won it. They won the region, defeated Alpharetta in the region championship game that we displayed on our PSU TV telecast. This past season, 1,940-plus yards rushing and 23 touchdowns. So Nakai Davenport continuing to receive those major D1 offers. Again, will be another focal point of that Roswell offense along with their head coach, Chris Pruitt. And then you had North Cobb Edge 2025. Dominic Moody received his 4th D1 offer and latest from Liberty. Again, will be a big part of their defense, next season. Will look to disrupt opposing tackles and try to get there in the backfield and disrupt quarterbacks as well. So he receives the offer from Liberty. And then to close out for the latest in recruiting with me, basketball, major guys. These guys are all 4 stars. We're going to start with combo guard Jakari Harris, who plays for Grayson. He received the offer last night from Virginia Tech. He's really great at finishing around the rim, really good at creating chances and opportunities for his teammates as well. Very good playmaker. Really good for Grayson next season. They're going to have Amir Taylor, too, who recently received the offer from Georgia Tech. So last year they were right there. They lost to Wheeler, I believe. It was in the semis. Really great team. Jeffrey Pierce doing a great job. I had him featured this past season on my podcast. Excited to see what they're going to be able to do next season. But had a great season. Plays for the Atlanta Celtics in the EYBL and also AAU. So look for him to continue to receive those major offers. And the number 7 player in Georgia, Darion Reed for Grovetown, received the offer from Kansas State. Also has major D1 offers from Georgia, Georgia State, Florida State, Auburn, and Alabama. He continues to show why he's that good. Very good forward for them. Expect for them to be right there next season as well. And then to conclude, major news, 4-star for Cal, Peyton Marshall recently decommitted from Auburn University and is uncommitted currently right now, still weighing out his options, playing for Game Elite and AAU circuit. Recently played in the EYBL, a major tournament that has major, D1 coaches. He just recently received the offer from Georgia Tech. So I'll be curious to see where he goes. Maybe he will recommit to Auburn, or maybe he will go in a different direction. So I think that would be really, really intriguing to see, really interesting, and we'll find out, what happens with him. But that's what I got as far as latest in recruiting with Najeh Wilk. So we'll see what happens next week. But hope you guys enjoyed this little small segment, but definitely going to be major going forward for my show. But Craig, anything from head coach from? Not yet. Okay. Let me reach back out one more time, guys, and see if we can bring him on.
Okay, I think I might see something.
Okay. Craig's trying to get him. Let's see.
Okay, it's frozen, but it looks like he was logged in.
Okay.
Let me switch over. He might have just set his phone down.
Okay.
See if you can hear him. Can you hear him?
Nah, that's still Queese. That's the other one. Do you see him in segment 2 or the second guest one?
That was the second guess. I don't see it.
You don't see him in first? Okay. So we'll wait around a little bit for Coach. But, all right, so that was recruiting. I'm trying to decipher if I should reveal the top 10 headlines or get started until we get them, but I think I'm going to do so. Haven't heard anything from him just yet. Did say around about 2:30. So we're going to keep going with the show. Let's go ahead and talk about some top 10 headlines. Obviously, my favorite segment of the show. Major happenings across the sports in Georgia. But let's start with Caleb Cost. Unreal athlete, won his first state ring this year with Sandy Creek. Unreal multi-sport athlete. Listen to these stats. For him, .545 average, 36 hits this season, 10 doubles, 4 home runs, 84 stolen bases, led the entire nation with that record. He also set the official GHSA record for stolen bases in the season with the 84. Previous record was 61, blew it out of the water by 23, and also set the record for stolen bases in a career. Previous record 134. He got 151. So shout out to Caleb Cost, dynamic defensive player for Sandy Creek this past season. He's going to North Carolina. Just continuing to show what he's able to do. It'll be interesting to see if he's going to try to play just football, if he'll try to incorporate baseball in there a little bit too. Other major news, Harrison boys tennis advanced to Elite 8 after the win against Richmond Hill. They're playing some phenomenal tennis right now, continuing to show that they're trying to get there to the state championship and compete. So major news, congratulations to the Harrison boys program. Tennis continuing to play some really, really good tennis at the right time. Multi-sport athlete Noah Onyawa, he received an offer from Florida Atlantic for football. Plays both sports well, continuing to probably wants to play football on the next level, but if he continues having the good seasons he's having, He definitely will be at the forefront. And then, as I mentioned, another major headline, as I mentioned in the recruiting, 4-star Peyton Marshall, recruiting still open after his decommitment from Auburn. Again, recently received the offer from Georgia Tech. Gonna be curious to see where he goes. 7-footer. I got to see him in the what was that event? Tip Off Classic. Performed really great. He's gonna be playing AAU all summer long, and they play against some of the best talent in the nation. I think in the past one there was Trey Johnson, who's the #1 player in the country in Texas going into the 2024 class this season. Played against them as well. So be interesting to see what steps he continues to take forward and where he decides to play on the next level. And then Noah Jordan produced a shutout in Norfolk Coney first round victory. He was just pitching marvelously for them. Norfolk Coney, as Craig has been mentioning on his shows, he believes they are the next Buford. Noah Jordan definitely will have something to say with that, with the shutout he produced in the first round. Let's see where Norfolk Coney finishes, but they did win a region title this past season, defeating Cherokee Bluff. So shout out to Norfolk Coney program. Calhoun girls track, they took home the region title this past week after a great performance. Their girls are locked in, loaded, performing great at the meet, some setting PRs. They continue to show, they're locked and loaded as well, playing some really great track right now. I think we're almost towards the end of the season, right? We're about to hit
May 15th will be state championship.
May 15th. It will be state championships. So only about 2 weeks left in the season. So major region championships now, and then obviously the quarterfinals and semifinals and then state meets will take place very, very shortly. Number 7, Archer boys soccer picked up a huge win against Norcross, 1-0 victory. A really great story because Archer was struggling, right? So they finished the season 11-8, but if they don't defeat South Gwinnett, Newton, Brookwood, they don't make the state playoffs. So they had to go on a 3-game winning streak just to get in. They struggled early out in the gate, but a great turnaround for their program. They're in the Final Four, and they're playing some really great soccer right now. Great turnaround to the season, and they're trying to win it all. Great win, great upset on the road. 2024, 6'11" big man Josh Hill, he received the offer from Arizona State University. I think he will be an interesting prospect to watch out for Wheeler, right? Wheeler's losing Jelani Hamilton, their sniper extraordinaire. They're not going to have #1 player in the country anymore, Isaiah Collier. He's going to SC. They're not going to have Addison Page. He's going to SC. So they're going to need one of those bigs to step up, and he's obviously going to be at the forefront of that team next season. Last year, he backed up Addison Page, who was obviously great, but he will be at the forefront. So I think it'll be interesting, obviously, to see what he's able to do, how good he's able to play, and things like that. So we will find out for sure. All right, so that was him. Number 9, West Forsyth head coach John Layden wins 7A Coach of the Year. Incredible season for West Forsyth. They made history, defeated Lambert for the first time in program history. He won the Region Coach of the Year. So shout out to him. I was able to interview him earlier this season. He did a phenomenal job. And then number 10 to close out, I think Collins Hill coach is ready to go. Savannah Country Day has a new head coach for the lacrosse team. They hired Taylor Brown. He's their head coach for lacrosse, as I mentioned, and the middle school athletic director. He comes from Georgetown Day and Washington, D.C., so Savannah Country Day makes a splash. They did really good to start the season, but kind of tapered off for Savannah Country Day and lacrosse, but I think he'll be a great addition to their team and to see, where they're able to go. But, Craig, anything on head coach? Okay, said he joined the link. Bear with me, guys. Trying to bring him on. Actually, let's take a quick break and then see if we can get him on the other side.
Our mission has always been to support Georgia farmers. That's why we created Georgia Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, providing financial protection that farmers needed. While this remains the same today, we've grown to protect all Georgians through home, auto, and life insurance. From the very beginning and into the future, we stand for every Georgia community.
We are our Farm Bureau.
Okay, guys, bear with me. I'm trying to bring on Collins Hill coach, talking to him. Might have to try. Okay, let's see. All right, guys, bear with me. Trying to bring him back on. All right, just sent him the link. But let's talk about Collins Hill real quick while we wait for him. Um, Again, a team, man, I didn't know it at the time, but, 2020, I just remember, just to give you guys context, I was an intern with AJC and / Georgia High School Football Daily, so I would go to the games, write articles on them, recaps. But this was my first time seeing Travis. I actually seen him twice. They played in the Corky Kell that year. Seen him a little bit there, but I got to see him for the Freedom Bowl in Milton when they played at the school out of state from Mississippi. But, I mean, you talk about an electric group. And that's what happens with success, right? So they lost all of their coaches. Head coach Hayden Gregory, who's going to be at our Corky Kell 707. He's in Bluffton now, South Carolina. Head coach for Archer, Dante Williams, was the former coordinator for them as well. You see he's at Archer. Lenny Gregory, their head coach, he's no longer there. He's at a different school. Drew Swick was on that team. He got promoted from defensive coordinator this season to head coach. So they lost a lot of their talent, but there's a team that was budding. They were playing well that prior year prior to them winning. That 21-22 season in 15-1, won it all. First championship in school history. The year before, 12-3, 4-0 in the region. Really good wins. Lost to East Coweta OT that year. Grayson was, playing phenomenal. Lost to Grayson actually twice that year. That year before they won it all. But had a really great season. Last year, that's why I want to learn more about their team. Not the best. Lost a lot of their talent, like I said, the year before. 4-6 was good enough to make the playoffs. 2-3 in the region. Tough region that included Brookwood. Parkview was in there as well. So curious to see how good the team is, but let's see if we can bring them on. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Hey, good, man. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having us.
Yes, sir. So, Coach, let's start out. You get in the realms this year. You're going to be the head coach. You were the defensive coordinator for that state championship team. With success, as I was mentioning before you came on, comes a lot of, change, right? Because people get promoted, they go on to the next level, or, they'll go coach for another team. So just what's your stance on the season last year? What you thought about the team as a whole, getting their first kind of experience?
Yeah, coming out of the state championship, we ended up graduating 32 seniors. There's a lot. That class, they've been together forever. Actually was able to, blessed to coach them in 8th grade all the way up to their senior year. In 8th grade, they won one game, and, we were a wing team type of offense, but they had kind of been hearing that lingo that we've been talking about on defense for a very long time. And I remember after that season, Coach Hayden and I, which is Coach Gregory's son, we told them that we would win a state championship, with this group. We did. They bought in. So when they graduated, we were very young last year. It showed we started 6 sophomores on defense and and kind of rotated 3 freshmen. And the same for, offense. So coming into this year, we made a bunch of mistakes. I always say, however many freshmen or sophomores you start, that's how you're going to have. But we ended up having, 6 losses. But we had the defense to be, really good. We had a chance also to beat Sandy Creek, beat Westlake, beat Buford, and we couldn't close the deal. But coming into this year, all of our guys heard that lingo. They've been through the film prep. They felt that film that it feels when you lose the last game and you don't get to make the playoffs. Tequila beat us at home, and they kept us from going in. But all those guys have that in their mind. They have that, and they've been working towards making that step to the playoffs. And we're a year older, so we got senior league class. We've been doing a lot of great things, like a leadership council group where our certain leaders, and the thing behind that is love the senior class, but we didn't have as much leadership that we needed to kind of carry us through. And when Ethan Davis kind of went down, Jaden Davis went down, it just wasn't the same. And young guys behind the lead. So we'll do, this year, start early, create those leadership council groups, grade level, and have everybody in, each class as a leader. So they'll learn how to lead now, learn how to, have their voice heard every day. So it becomes natural. and we don't have that problem going forward.
Definitely, Coach. I think that's a good thing you've implemented. Having that leadership council group, you're going to need that, especially when times are hard. You might have faced adversity, early in the season. You guys play a tough schedule, so that's going to be critical to have those guys, bought in and obviously, attention to detail and things like that. But what's been some of the differences, Coach, for you? Obviously, you were the defensive coordinator. You've done a great job there. You're promoted to head coach. What are some of the differences now, you being head coach? And can we expect for you to coach the defense this year?
So the hardest thing is kind of maintaining everything. They still got me teaching fives up in the building at a weight training, so I still have that whole teaching schedule, and I'm doing all this head coach stuff. We're able to get me a long-term sub, so it's like 100 miles an hour every day, all day long. So everybody wants to meet and do all this stuff planning period, and then right after school. So I got to kind of manage all of that, and then I talk about recruiting, putting the people in the right spot. So about with offense and defensive coordinator, Coach Beck's been, at Collins so long time. He's done a great job. He's going to end up being the DC this year. He's also taking over for the strength coach. And then we were very blessed to get Gerald Boo Mitchell, who is been at North Gwinnett for a long time. He's an OG. He's been, I think, coaching for now 9 years. He was the one, when Peach Ridge tied and Roswell for that state championship my junior year. He was a part of that group as well. So he's been a part of a lot of great programs that have been successful. He knows what it takes. And then just trying to surround myself with as many guys like that have experience. We just picked up Jonathan Beverly from Flowery Branch. He's going to end up being an offline coach and offline game coordinator. But just getting as many guys in place as possible, and then just kind of manage it. So, trying to be as neutral as possible. And also, want my guys to be as creative as possible. That's what I believe in. That's how I kind of create, we all kind of together to create the defense that we run, picking things from Georgia and teams that are something similar, and then just making it our own, adding our own flavor. But just, I think the hardest thing is managing the time, getting the guys in the right spot, and then, just allowing people to be creative. I think that's what's going to allow us to be successful. And that's been the biggest change for me, just being neutral on both sides. I've always been defensive minded, so.
Yes, sir, definitely. I mean, sound like you got the right guys coming in to be the assistants, and that's definitely going to be, critical to the team. So tell me more about your team. How does your QB room? Let's start with that offensively first, and then we could transition to defense. I know you said you had a lot of sophomores started last year, but let's start with quarterback. How does that QB room look going into the season? Do you think you have a starter in mind, or are you still trying to figure that out as you go into the spring and things like that?
Yeah, going into the spring, we tell all the kids, coming off of last year and the way that we kind of performed on both sides, offense and defense. Nobody is a starter right now, and again, I know that sounds cliche, but again, we want a fresh start for these kids. A guy that I would say has the upper hand would be TJ Wilcox. He's a kid that played behind Sam Horn, and then last year played behind Mikey Sheehan, and he got limited time. He's got the ability to be a and hooker type, scramble the pocket. He's got the live arm, the big arm. If he can figure it out up top, then he's going to be an unbelievable athlete. And the kid, he's done a great job of steps forward. He's a kid that might stay in the back. Well, now he's in the front all the time. And then we've also kind of put him whenever we're doing stretching or anything like that. He's now in the middle, so all those kids can see his face every single day because that's what it's supposed to be. When you're running that quarterback spot, you're the guy.
Yes, sir, certainly. And then real quick, just tell me, including the running backs, this is all kind of meshed together, but, obviously you said you got to earn that spot. There's no starters going in, but who are some upcoming players that have just impressed you in the offseason, impressed you in the weight room, and then just kind of how does your running back group look as well this season? Obviously you lost, 2 of your senior running backs. How does that look, and how does the playmakers look going into the season?
Yeah, we lost some really good seniors. Running back wise, a kid that was last year was Shakari Thomas. He ended up getting hurt in Sandy Creek. And, when he went down, we lost a lot of our production. We had some guys like Narelle Ziegler, who's going to be a senior. He's more of a speedy back. And then you also have Chase Nash, who plays slot receiver, but he has the ability to get moved back to the backfield, get a toss and things like that to create space. So, senior-wise, you got Ziegler and you have Nash, and then right behind them is Shakari Thomas, who's going to be a junior this year. But, three totally different backs. You got Speedy, you got Quick, and then you have, the house, which would be Jakari. So we got a bunch of different kind of flavors in the backfield, and then you had the quarterback as well. one thing that you have the ability to do is play some wildcat, which is cool. And it's again coming back to being creative and doing what you want to do, and not just kind of doing what traditional things, but in the backfield is what we want to be able to do back there. So you got the quarterback, you got the wide, but just being creative and bring it may not.
Yes, sir, certainly. And talk to me. Let's transition to defense really quick. How does that room look? As you mentioned, you started some young players. How's your back end look? How's your front end look? Who are some players we can also look out for on the defensive end, whether that's edge, linebacker, safety, corners? Just how the defense look this season?
Defensively is, we're going to average about 6'3". We're very long, and when you have a big D line like that, and you're quick and you kind of contain the pocket with the quarterback. It's always a great day for your defensive backfield. So, we have a lot of young guys who are still returning. Dudes that have been playing since they were small. We have those guys now, juniors that are going to be seniors. But all over the place, just we have speed, guys that are, totally in. We have guys that are, want to do the right thing. When we talk about pursuit drill, one thing that we preach on defense is pursuing the football. I learned that a long time ago from Coach Gregory. That's one of the best things that I can say in my career is I've had really good defense coordinators. Coach Massey, Rob Patton, and then Coach Gregory. Those three guys have been kind of the core guys that I've learned from. But pursuing the football, getting all 11 hats to the ball, our guys actually they know that now. And going into year, one for me, but year two for them as a defense, they're all very tight and they're all very meshed together as a big group of friends. But our sophomore class has been playing together for a long time, and then you have those juniors that are going to be seniors. Those guys as well. So top to you got Ethan Campbell, DJ Hector. Both those guys play wide and defensive back. And back in, we got to replace some safety and a jet. But on the up front, you got Deuce Geralds, who's going to be a sophomore. He's getting big time offers. Contrell Webb, who's just picked up a Michigan offer, who's also a freshman, rising sophomore. Joshua Johnson, nobody knows about him yet, but North Carolina, has some interest in him. And then Nick Igberry, who you think about the name Robert Candice, well, that's his cousin. So he's also kind of grown into that body, and he's got that the family bloodline. And so we got a lot of talent up front. We're very long, and then linebacker wise, we've had some kids that have played for a while, can make the calls, and what we like to do on defense is move and be creative and twist and do all this stuff and play cover one and all the all these things that we do with lock and combo coverages. So it's not the easiest defense, it's advanced, but our kids are going to be veterans this year, and they know the system, so we're very excited.
Yes, sir. Certainly. I can't wait to see him. Obviously that front sounds like it's going to be something serious. I think you said that you're averaging about 6'3", right? I heard that correct?
Yeah, we're about 6'3". We range from 6'4" to 6'2", but the average height is going to be about 6'3", and we got guys. We have depth at that position. So if we want to sub in, last year we had guys that were young. We had guys that had never played varsity, and you're kind of hesitant to put them in. Well, now everybody's a year of veterans, and it's just there's a lot of stuff that you can do with that.
Definitely, Coach. So talk to me about spring, Coach. How's your spring schedule looking? When does your practice begin if it hasn't already? And then do you have a spring opponent scheduled?
Oh, yeah. So, Dante Williams, our coach, he was offensive coordinator. We went, back state championships. And, he's a very common. I know how well his offense is going to be coached. And he knows how, good our defense is going to be. And one of those things that, you just want to make sure you have the best competition, in the game. And you want to make sure, that you're using, put in to make sure that you don't get embarrassed. But both of us are going to have a, big competition. So, we'll have our defense. Our offense will be new this year. So, that's going to be something that kind of come in. And then defense coordinator also. But our game is going to be, which is great because, that gives you Friday to kind of break down film. Because the next week you go into final week. And that's kind of what we want our kids to focus on is their grades and academics, things like that with that week. We start practice May 3rd, which is going to be next Wednesday. And we've been doing a lot of install and things like that, and a lot of after school stuff. And kids have been doing 7-on-7 by their own or on their own, and all their individual drills by themselves. We're senior led, so it's really good feeling, and we're excited. And our second equipment pick Cup is this Saturday, and then it's on.
Gotcha, coach. And then, real quick, just talking about the schedule and things like that. How is it for off season for you guys? I know you're talking about obviously spring is going to start May 3rd, but how is it led up to that? Do you guys do a couple days a week of weight training? Do you do conditioning with the guys, or you just kind of hey, I can see you guys in spring? Like, what's kind of the culture and how you guys do things in the off season for Collins Hill?
Well, we definitely don't want to, wear our kids down, but we try to do as much as possible to get better. And especially last year when you had a young team, you got to make sure that you're careful. But with the depth that we have, we want to create competition, and we've gotten a lot of new kids in that we think are going to be able to kind of step in certain roles and create that competition. But that you get complacent, that's when you start to slack off, and you're not, competition. We'll go Monday to Thursday. A lot of food. I get a lot of credit to Cameron Hayes. He came from Lawrenceville. He was with us in 2020 and 2021. He's a coach that I brought back. Very close friend. He's my football operations, but he's been able to get us a whole bunch of food. So anytime that we get done with practice or weights, we're able to give them milk. We're able to give them chocolate milk, protein, apples, bananas, you name it, protein bars. And we don't have that without him. So they're getting fed a lot, and they're gaining about 8 to 10 pounds. And we're just going to keep getting after it in the summer. We've also scheduled 4 7-on-7. So one of the big ones is going to be Tennessee. We usually go to Alabama. This year we're going to go to Tennessee June 8th. Then we'll have Porky Kill, UGA, and then we'll have Archers, big 7-on-7 that they do at their field this year.
Oh, that's major, and then you'll be able to get a good look at the guys. And talk to me, Coach, about that too. Obviously, I know the kind of evaluation of guys and starters don't come until later. You probably will get a maybe a good gist after the spring. But how do you use 7-on-7 tournaments as a maybe evaluation metric, or do you already kind of know what you got at the 7-on-7s? Like, does that play a factor into how you evaluate guys?
Defensively, it's different. I mean, let's be honest, you only got 7 guys and you have 1 inside linebacker, so it's easier for an offense than a defense, in my opinion. Most teams just kind of go, their easiest check would be to go lock it up, and that wears your team down. So we try to go lock the whole entire time. Teams are going to motion you to death. They're going to run vertical routes, and then by the end of the tournament, your guys are gassed. So you have to be very creative when it comes to zone coverages and things like that. In 7-on-7, but it's just not the same because you don't have 2 inside linebackers. You're missing an extra guy, and it's an extra hole that an offense can exploit. But for the quarterback, it's great because the quarterback's working on chemistry and things like that with his extra receivers. And when we're talking about man technique, you get to see which DBs actually can run man and which ones can't. So when it comes down to 3rd and long in a certain game, then you want to make sure that you got the right guys in. That gives you just extra reps. Anytime you can get extra repetition at anything, it's only going to make you better, and then it gets our eyes on our guys, and we can kind of see more of them in live action. So it's always great.
Definitely, Coach. Well, a couple more questions before I let you go. One, just what was your favorite thing about being a defensive coordinator for the program of Collins Hill before you became the coach? Just what did you enjoy most coming in there every day and leading those defensive guys?
I just love defense because there's something about stopping somebody from scoring. And we play, playing in Gwinnett County, it's like playing the SEC. You got a great opponent every single week, top to bottom. And, again, the region is going to change again next year, but it don't really matter where you go in Georgia. You're always going to have great competition. Even when we played Milton in the championship game, it's just, it doesn't matter where you go. Like this year we'll play Freedom Bowl again. And, we're looking at maybe playing Milton, Lexington Hughes, or Carrollton. So, again, you can't escape the talent that's everywhere. It's a constant battle, and we want to make sure that we're going to be our best in everything we do. But you also look at the coaching. The coaching is unbelievable all over the place as well. And I'm where I'm at today because of the people that helped me along the way. And that's kind of the same thing. So anytime we get a young coach, I want to share as much that I know and knowledge that I know for each and every person that comes in here. And, so they can have as much success as I have and be grateful for that.
Definitely, Coach. And then another question, just going back to the team. Gosh, I then lost my train of thought. What I was going to ask you. It was a good question, too. Well, I guess I'll ask just, how excited are you just, being the head coach and just going into this season, and seeing the maturation of some of your players stepping up in those key roles?
Yeah, it's unbelievable experience. And again, I graduated in 2008 from Collinsville, and this is my community. And one thing that we live by right now is for the Hill. So everything we do is for Collinsville, for our community, and for our program. And that's kind of like what we want to live by. We want to be great at everything we do, not just at football, but being a great person, being a great man. Teaching these kids the right way to be a man and the right things to do. And basically, when I left here, I loved my community so much. I loved my school. I felt like I owed it to come back. And there was really no other place that I wanted to leave Collinsville for, just because I felt like I owed it to this place. And Collinsville special, it always has been. You always had kids that left to go to the Bufords or left to go to, Mill Creeks and Peachtree Ridges back then. But now, we want to make sure that we kind of change that culture and keep the kids that are Collinsville kids here, because when we won a state championship in 2021, and even in 2020, that was a homegrown team. We had maybe Travis Hunter coming as a freshman, but all those kids played together in the park, and that's what it's about. Man? I mean, it's just, there's no greater feeling than winning with kids that are homegrown from your own community, and then, just going from there. But being the head coach, it's surreal. It's a dream come true. It's something, I had to pray really hard on and make sure that it was the right thing for me and my family. And, something I've always wanted to do and, thought about. And from the first time that I came here as a position coach, coaching ninth grade DBs and putting my head down and working as hard as I could, and, just doing that. And then, becoming a defensive coordinator. First year, I've been blessed. First year as DC, went to state championship. We lost to Grayson. Second year, you won a state championship. I mean, that just doesn't happen a lot. So just being grateful and thanking God for everything that's, happened in my life, and, just doing the best I can. But yeah, head coach is a little bit different than defensive coordinator. You got a lot more responsibility, but it's your program now, and, I get to do the things that I want, and I think that's best. And, it's all for the kids is what it comes down to. So that's what it's always going to be about at Collinsville, is giving back to them.
Yes, sir, definitely. And like that. It sounds like they got a good leader in you, coach. And last question, I'm going to let you go. Just how does your schedule look this year? I just mean as far as the season. Do you have a full schedule yet? Or, who are some of those notable opponents that we're going to see Collins Hill Eagles face this season?
Yeah, it's going to be year two for our same. So we'll have the same schedule. It'll be year two. So, we play Cedar Groves, play the Westlake, play Sandy Creek. First game we'll play Freedom Bowl. We don't know who our opponent is yet. Usually you find that out in like June, late July. But, right now it's looking like, again, the 4 Georgia teams that are in it will end up playing each other. So we might be playing Milton, Langston Hughes, or Carrollton first game at Milton, then Freedom Bowl. And then, you still have the Mill Creeks. The Mill Creek's going to be, well coached. You'll have, your Mountain Views will be well coached, and then Central Gwinnett. So it's, again, a lot of turnover, but again, it doesn't matter who's there. You're always going to have great coaching and great players and talent, so you got to prepare like, the Super Bowl every week.
Definitely. Well, I want to say, Coach Swick, thank you so much for joining the show today. We will see you guys. I'll be present there with Craig at the 7-on-7 Coca Cola tournament this summer. You're definitely welcome to come in. I know you mentioned that coming into the office and, doing the podcast too. I definitely want to get you prior to the season starting again, but just want to say thanks so much to coming on the show, and appreciate you, and good luck this season.
Hey, thank you so much, and I appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir.
Have a great day. Bye.
You too. All right, guys, so that was head coach for Collins Hill. Definitely doing a great job with leadership, I think. Instilling the right things in the program when you're kind of, starting it over. Obviously, last year didn't have the season they wanted, but they did make the postseason. But playing a tough schedule. I mean, just listen to that Freedom Bowl, and that's an event they've competed in for a little while now. And I remember that year they won the championship. They played a school from out of state, from Mississippi, I believe, and they ended up winning. But, I mean, just those 4 schools, right? Milton, Carrollton, Langston Hughes, and then them. Any one of those matchups you sign me up for. I mean, any of those is going to be good between any of those 4 teams. I mean, all those teams, have state championship qualities and capabilities, so I think that's going to be really intriguing. But that is a team I'm interested to watch out for. I mean, 6'3" in average height and going on that front and defensive line, that's going to be a problem. So I'm curious to see what players they're going to have step up next season. He gave me some insight into some of those players. That's a team I'm going to be watching. Can't wait to see them in action. They're going to be playing in 4 7-on-7 tournaments this summer, so we'll be able to see them, at least one of them, in the Corky Kell. Can't wait to see what they're going to look like. But it will be really interesting. But, guys, thanks again. Happy Friday Eve. Really a jam-packed day as far as tonight. Got the NFL draft going on. The Hawks are going to play. The Celtics are going to try to extend the series to 7 games. I think that Taylor Swift concert, is that tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. So, yeah, for Trae Young hitting that three-pointer, he postponed the Janet Jackson concert. So, if you're going out tomorrow, don't go downtown. Janet Jackson concert in Atlanta, and also you got Janet Jackson concert, and then you got Taylor Swift as well. Is going to be downtown. One is going to be at State Farm Arena, Janet Jackson, and the other one is going to be at Mercedes-Benz. So, yeah, if you don't have to do it, don't go downtown. I wouldn't advise it. But, again, happy Friday Eve to everybody. Enjoy the draft. Hopefully your team selects a player that you love and like. And we'll see you guys on the other side. Hope you guys enjoyed the segments of the show I'm adding. Obviously, the Tell of the Tape, that's something I added probably a couple weeks after the start of the show. That'll continue. The recruiting segment I really enjoyed, so I'm going to add that as well. Hope you guys enjoyed that segment, and obviously top 10 headlines for the weekend. So Craig will be back tomorrow with some great guests, so tune in for his show tomorrow at noon, and we'll see you guys next week for an episode of Keeping It Real with Najeh Wilkins, and thanks for tuning in. Peace.